One of the leading young lights in post-bop during the early to mid-1970s was pianist Kenny Barron, who put out three just lightning-fast albums on Muse Records between 1973 and 1975. And from the first of those, Sunset to Dawn, the track Al-Kifha. Okay, we're in like the key of F here, and in addition to Kenny Barron's filigree on piano, we have got drums by Freddie Waits, and we have got the vibes of Warren Smith. Now, what are you following first? Because it's like in this one channel, you've got the bass and the cymbals just kind of going at this really brisk pace, and then you've got this piano kind of over here in this section, kind of, you know, just sprinkling right over it, and it's quite, it's like 2-3 layers going on. It's amazing how someone can play so fast, yet in a form that's almost that's virtually improvised. It's like compromised. It's there may be a composed bass line or structure, the ostinato, and you have like a set range of scales to work within, and you just juggle them around, and it's just. And right here, this is the sound of only 3 people doing this. We've got the bass of Bob Cranshaw, we've got the piano of Kenny Barron, and we've got the drums of Richard Landrum. Or no, Freddie Waits is the actual drummer here. See this being a gateway for rock listeners in much the same way that McCoy Tyner's output from this period is well liked by a lot of, it seems like a lot of rock fans from that, some of them anyway, rock fans who are somewhat alienated by jazz, that McCoy Tyner is a gateway because his music is so fast, busy, and this I could see fitting very much in that area too. Let's see, according to Discogs, Kenny Barron had been a 12-year veteran in recording-wise by this point in time. His earliest credit being a Bill Barron record from 1961. And during that decade, let's see, he played on albums by James Moody, Dizzy Gillespie, and Curtis Amy, Booker Irving, Tyrone Washington, Freddie. He played on High Blues Pressure, 1968 title by Freddie Hubbard. He played on The Kicker by the Joe Henderson Sextet. Played on several Joe Henderson records and Freddie Hubbard from like the turn of the 70s. Oh, played on Black Angel. I should have noted that one before. The Black Angel is one of the is probably Freddie Hubbard's best album, even better than Red Clay. It came out the same year. Like a lot of people know Red Clay, and like I keep telling people who mention Red Clay, oh, his other album from 1970 actually is even more of a knockout all the way through. Eric Kloss. Around the late 60s, he really gets involved in some of that jazz that was on the verge of crossover. A lot of his credits from that time frame I could see as being bridges between like the worlds of jazz and rock that were coming together, bringing as rock became more virtuosic, more about soloing, more about the instrumentation, and jazz meanwhile was picking up some of that briskness, some of that aggressive character. And the bass work by Bob Cranshaw, his recording career as a instrumentalist sideman goes back to 1957, according to Discogs. He was on several records by the Max Roach Quintet. A lot of 50s era acts. Let's see, Sonny Red, Carmen McRae, the Lee Morgan Quintet, 1962, Take 12. Sonny Rollins' 1962 effort, The Bridge. A couple of Sonny Rollins. What's New as well from that year. Yeah, played on quite a few of that. Nat Adderley, the Shirley Scott Trio, Wes Montgomery, Lee Morgan. The Sidewinder. Grant Green, Idle Moments. Yeah, as you get kind of into the mid '60s, seeing some real stellar credits here. Jackie Biard, Freddie Hubbard, Blue Spirits, Joe Henderson. He was working with those guys even earlier than Kenny Barron. Joe Henderson's Inner Urge. Yeah, a lot, quite a prolific sideman during this period. In the 16 years leading up to this album. The dropout bass section. Well, for a minute there, the drums, all that cymbal spray, that really brisk rhythmic component we've been hearing, courtesy of Freddie Waits, who was the same age as Kenny Barron, 30 at the time of this album's release. Bob Cranshaw was considerably older than the two. Freddie Waits had a somewhat leaner list of credits going back to 1964. Played on albums by Ray Bryant, Denny Zeitlin, Paul Winter, Donald Byrd Mustang, Buddy Terry, Freddie Hubbard, played on High Blues Pressure. Oh, played on Joe Zawinaw's The Rise and Fall of the Third String. And in 1969 played on Pharoah Sanders' Karma and McCoy Tyner's Expansions, and Roy Ayers' Daddy Bug, Gary Bart's Another Earth. Wow, 1969 was a good year for him, playing a lot of breakthrough albums by like the new generation of crossover jazz acts, be it crossover into, be it like either like some of them free jazz, some of them jazz funk, or just like modernistic hard bop of the kind that we're dealing with here. On the very final Lee Morgan album from 1971. I gotta say that vibes, xylophones, mallet instruments are among my favorite tones, and so I gotta take some time to look over Warren Smith's credits here. Let's see, I don't recognize anything off the quick list of albums, but let's see, he's got 309 credits. Oh, he's got vocal credits and instrumental credits. Instrumental wise, he played on The Bewitched by Harry Partch. Now that's an interesting credit. One of his early ones from 1958. He's considered he's older than Barron too, about a decade older. It says for the American 50s, 60s. Oh, excuse me. I guess there was somewhat of a name confusion. There are two guys named Warren Smith in the industry at the time. Let's see. In the mid-60s, on albums by Sylvia Copeland, The Incredible Jimmy Smith, Kai Winding, The Fugs. Huh, that's interesting. Aretha Franklin, he was on Lady Soul, he was on Astro Weeks, he was on the self-titled Earth Opera album, he was on Tamika Jones, I guess one of her early albums, long before her mid-70s run. Yeah, her second, I'll Be Anything for You. I don't know that 60s era stuff by hers, really. Her two mid-70s albums are really good, though. Oh, and he was on, Phil Upchurch, Feeling Blue, and that Joe Zawinul record I name-checked just a bit ago. In 1970, Roberta Flack, Chapter 2. Oh, he was on White Heat by Barry Miles. Oh, yeah, Barry Miles is another, like, post-bopper, fast pianist, who I could see as being a crossover, although he eventually, I think, did electrify a bit and go slightly jazz rocky. I'm often not the first one to pay attention to whether it's, jazz rock or post-bop. I don't really care. I like it all. So some people, whether there's the presence of any electric instruments on it, though, it's really like a crucial distinction to certain listeners out there. Oh, and in the early 70s, he was on Norman Connor's Dark of Light, our Vibus guy, Warren Smith. It seems like of all the credit lists that I've read on this recording, Warren Smith seems to have covered the most ground over the music scene. He was on Sam Rivers' Crystal's album, Billy Harper's Capra Black, and yet he was also on Tom Rapp of Pearls Before Swine, Sun Forest. Yeah, all over the map, this guy. Look at the see how those piano filigree, it's just winding upward and upward and upward and almost, yeah, over that ostinato, and there was like a double-handed thing going on. There was that that bass figure 2-note thing, and the other hand was like really just speeding upward. Yeah, there you have it. Kenny Barron, Al-Kifha from the 1973 release Sunset to Dawn. His first of 3 back-to-back albums on Muse Records, in that very brisk, colorful post-bop vein with vibes of, piano filigree, rain, lightning brisk pace, and colorful vibes aplenty, just lighting up the proceedings like Christmas lights. That's why I like vibes so much. They have a colorful, glowy tone to them. I know it's all subjective, but there's always been something just so quirky, abstract, colorful about vibes. I visualize abstract expressionism or really dense cubist artwork. Like in particular, I visualize some of the artwork from the 1940s, like Stuart Davis, Hot Stillscape in 6 colors. Like vibes could represent the polka dot panels and those pieces of art. Anyway, for more, I don't know if I added. I know I added one Kenny Barron title to the Jazz Funk list. Once again, he's one of those artists where I don't quite know if he qualifies as. So I would have only added albums that had a Fender Rhodes on it. You had to at least have a Fender Rhodes to get onto the Jazz Funk list. That one like electric component to be. So if not this one, maybe the one after it, on the list of, like, I think Lucifer is on there, yeah, the 3rd of his Muse records. But anyway, regardless, see the directory of albums from American Jazz Funk acts, or to see the other Rubies and Sapphires from this album, guaranteed, check out the directory of albums from 1973. It's about 1,050 titles strong. Both links are in the description. And like and subscribe to know when videos like this are coming up. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear-traveled tri-maximalist, signing off.